Great.
Welcome everybody. I'm sitting here at Mvuu Lodge and I'm really happy to introduce you to Symon Chibaka, who is the safari manager at Mvuu Lodge and as well as the country co-ordinator for children in the wilderness. Welcome, Symon.
Thank you very much.
Could you just tell us a little bit about how you got involved with nature yourself and also about children in the wilderness and what it actually, how it works, how it came to be? Just let us know.
Yeah, a brief of background. After my school, I joined Save the Children, which was a program for children, and I was managing Save the Children's project in an area called Monkey Bay in Malawi. And then through that, I got very much interested into how children are fascinated with children and see. And then after the project, which was 3 years long, and then I got another job, which was community radio broadcasting. So we were the first people for that community radio station, which we called Zimwe, in Monkey Bay, Mangochi, southern east of Malawi. And then after a number of training with UNESCO, which sponsored that project, and I was a station manager for that radio station. And naturally, I don't know how it happened, but I was in the program production for tourism and natural resources conservation. So I was working with coordinating with Wildlife Society of Malawi in that area, and I was also working with communities and how to promote conservation, and then also interviewing a number of resorts in that area on how tourism in Monkey Bay could be promoted. And that's I got hooked into nature and conservation and tourism. And then after 3 years, when UNESCO pulled out from that project, then all the reasons to seek for other greener pastures came about. And because of that program, which was about environment and tourism, within that period, I got hooked to wilderness safari because they also had interest in Monkey Bay because they were also running other resorts there. And then after they knew that I'm no longer working with the radio station, then they invited me to come with them. And then they put me into the environmental education sector. By then, it was WWF starting project here at Mvuu Camp. They built an education center, and the same funding that also facilitated my intro training into safari guiding and tourism as per wilderness safaris and the national parks. So that's how I got into wilderness safari. That was 2003, and I was a guide, and then I was a head guide. And then when things were coming for me to be more of responsibility into wilderness safaris, then it came this program called Children in the Wilderness. It was Paul Newman, the actor in the US, late Paul Newman, who brought the idea to Africa, first in Botswana, and then it came to Malawi. Yeah. So Paul Newman visited one of the wilderness safari camps in Botswana, and then introduced the program that he used to run back home in the United States. It was a program called Ho in a War. It's targeting children with terminal diseases, but it was believed that when children undergo the camp, they were a little bit relieved from their disease. So the same we shared with wilderness safari. Say, I ran back home. I ran a very beautiful program with children, and it's working. Why can't you use the same program for your children? Because if children go through the program and they're learning in a campsite, they should be inspired somehow and become future leaders. So Wilderness Safari got the concept from Paul Newman, and then they tested in Botswana. They found like it's working. And then they shared into other countries where wilderness safari was, including Malawi. So in Malawi, the concept came in 2003, and by that time I had my 3 years with wilderness safaris. And then because of my background working with Save the Children, it attracted me to say, if it's about children, then I am interested in children. And then I was linked to that program. I was working as a head guide for wilderness safari, but I also volunteering for children in the wilderness. Up until in 2006, when now there was all the reasons to say, can we have children in the wilderness register as an NGO and have full-time staff? That's where my bosses promoted me to say, can you be full-time for children in the wilderness? And then it was very easy for me to start working with children in the wilderness as full-time worker. And then we started developing the program. I found that the program was a solution. It was bridging the problem that the community, especially those communities which are around the national parks, looking at how they understand wildlife and how their life plus economic challenges. And then I say, this program, to me, it seems like a bridge because it's connecting the solution and the problems. So I got fascinated, and then every time I work with children in the wilderness, I see opportunity to take the program to another level. And we've developed the program to the extent that every child that comes through Children in the Wilderness program, they don't want to leave. They would like to remain with Children in the Wilderness because the program seems to be, it's like something that they want to have anyway. So what we do is we recruit children every year, about 40 children, new children from primary school. Those are in grade 5, and then we take them into a camp. So what Wilderness Safaris, as COWS, Central African Wilderness Safaris, does is they close the camp at a certain time of the year for 2 weeks, no paying guest camp. We open it for children. Once we have funding, and then we run that educational program. So that first camp is what inspired these children to say, to make them connected to wildlife, because they are seeing and coming up close to elephant for the first time in a friendly manner, rather than the way when the elephants go into their village. Because once the elephants go astray into their village, it's an enemy. People beat drums, stone at it, things like that. They don't want. But now when we take children into the wilderness, and then they approach elephant in a friendly manner, they now start looking at the beauty and the value of elephants, and the understanding comes. When they go back home, they've got different stories to tell their parents, their siblings. Elephants and other wildlife are so beautiful, things like that. Because when they come to camp, one of the projects is draw your lovely animal. So one can choose to draw an impala, one can choose to draw a warthog, one can choose to draw an elephant. They paint it out. Through their process of staying in camp, we teach them so important information about how beautiful those animals are, how important they are, things like that, how they connect to their cultural heritage, things like that. And then they are changed. They go back with a different story. So those are agents now. Start talking to their parents about how beautiful and how important, and how tourism also comes about by conserving wildlife, and how tourism is important to their local people. You see, their uncles, their brothers, because most of them are employed here. When they come from their home, they come to the camp, they find their brothers are working here and they're making money, paying school fees for them. So the children, they start appreciating. And once after camp session has ended, we now introduce those children to their eco clubs, because in those schools that we work with, we have environmental education clubs. So we've trained teachers, we've oriented the communities, and when children are meeting and learning about wildlife and conservation leadership. It's a program that gives them like ongoing learning. So every week, one day is spared for children to sit down for 1 hour and continue learning about wildlife and how it connects to their life. So they sit in that program for 3 years, because we start with a grade 5 to grade 8 primary school. And then after they go to secondary school, we have yet another program for secondary school level. So these are youth. And then after they go to school, when they close the school, they come back to their community. The secondary school level youth, they have something to work on. We've well-structured curriculum that they use, so they keep on learning. Once they finish their secondary school, they go to college. We have yet another program for them. These are like youth, but going into leadership. So they still have that continuing learning. It's an advanced curriculum for the youth in colleges. They continue learning. What we have realized for the past 20 years is that all the children that go through the program and remain with the program, they are changed local people, because now they go back as with different message, but also actions. Because some of the project, what they do, this youth, is to organize awareness, community awareness about environment. So we support them, we give them funding to organize. Maybe they have an open air, they just want to talk to their village headmen, they want to talk to their parents. We give them peer system, we organize their messages into striking points, and then we have the platform. The children organize and then they talk to their own people. We have interviewed a number of parents to say, what is your feeling after attending the open air organized by your children? It's amazing how the message touch their parents. So we have discovered a messaging tool that can change the community through educating their own children and give chance to their own children talking to them. So some of the children, as a success story, that have been with this program, some of them have graduated from colleges. Now they are working in government department, organizations. Some of them are working in African parks as rangers. It means their families have changed. We don't expect such families to have or to keep poachers in there, because they have a testimony to say conserving can change things, because their son now is a ranger working with African parks. We have also seen some of them coming out like journalists. You see, they are working with radio station, TV station. Their microphone is powerful, because whatever program, whatever interview they do, there is that element of what are you doing about conserving. So they take to task those government officials. They say, can we have a program about conservation? What are you doing? Things like that. That's what the generation that we want to raise, and this program is making sure that generation is coming. Some of them are in teaching. We've trained them and then give them opportunities, sponsored their school. Some of them are now teachers, including primary school, including secondary school. We have them. And their message to the children in school where they're teaching is about conservation, because they've been through and they appreciate what it should be. Who is the human and what is nature, and how do these two things come together? So that's in brief, that's what we do as Children in the Wilderness. It's a program that I've come to believe that it's working, and every single child, I wish, go through this program. Yeah, it's a changing program, life-changing program, and also it's a program that makes children and even the community themselves to appreciate that nature is part of life. You destroy nature, you destroy your life. So I'm a living testimony about how life can change. Yeah, so success stories, we've seen children growing and becoming professional in different ways, but not only professional, but professional who have got a message about conservation and living in harmony with wildlife, things like that. And we've also come across different organizations that have looked at this program and appreciated and given their support. Recently, I've just finished my project with National Geographic. Yeah, they looked at our program in 2021, and they say, can we sponsor a section within your program? We would like to promote storytelling. So children can, and it was already part of our activities, because when the children come to this program, we also teach them public speaking and expressing their views. So the storytelling project, which was sponsored by National Geographic, it was titled Changing Lanes on Conservation. So it was a 3 years project, and we've run it successfully. We are just winding up and writing reports to National Geographic and sharing with other stakeholders. This project have changed the life of children even further, because they were exposed to technology like cameras, taking photos of what could be environmental issues and start describing it, writing about it, developing stories around it. And we've connected these children to expert in writing, expert in photography, to develop their stories. So we had 300 stories, and then at the beginning, and then we finished with 15 stories, like top stories, super stories. Then this has been an amazing project with children. So we want to expand on that, because it's a very important tool. Children are able to speak to their own people. In a normal circumstances, African traditional and that of Malawi, children are supposed to be listeners, not speakers, not view contributors. But with this program, it's upside down. Children can speak. Children can change the lives of their own people through storytelling. So we give them a platform, they air their views, we produce those stories into media, like media products, books, and news, and then people are able to lead the mind of their children, the message that is in their children. I've come to believe that when you teach a child, you give a child a knowledge, specific knowledge, what start developing in their mind is they start developing stories, because they've got questions. They say, if, for example, you say pollution, it's a problem, and then they say, what is the solution to pollution? And they say, just have to pick and reduce wasting, littering the ground. And they say pollution is a problem and picking litters is a solution. But why is still a problem? Now they start developing questions, because they see littering and pollution as still a problem. So to me, it tells me that children start developing stories. They want to tell something, you see? So that's how even the program Changing the Lanes came to be a very powerful tool, because we are teaching children to see, can you see an issue, an environmental issue at your school? Can you see an environmental issue in your community? And the answer is yes. Can you suggest a solution? And then they suggest solutions. And now they start wondering, say, here is an issue, here is the solution. Why do our parents fail to connect the problem and the solution? And they start developing message. So this is how we believe to say they've got a better generation, because they're already starting connecting problem and solutions. I've come to learn that Children in the Wilderness is one of the program that every single child on this planet needs to go through. I am a believer in that. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Symon. You spoke so wonderfully there, and I think I've got a few questions, because the children, when you choose them, how do you identify those that will come into the program? Because I think what it has to start with is a connection or a love. Some children grow up with an automatic love for wildlife and nature. I think all children have it in them, but when they grow up, it just gets disconnected.
Yeah.
So how do you identify those? people who are not so badly disconnected.
Yeah. As you said, it's natural that we all human beings are connected to nature, and then due to exposures, some of them are not friendly to nature. We get disconnected. We also do it in a natural way. We open it, especially every year when the school starts, when the school year starts. In our case in Malawi, September. All those schools that we work with, primary school, the teachers that we've oriented and trained, they open it. Say, this year, Children in the Wilderness recruitment. Anyone would like to join? They announce it, and then children start approaching them. I want to join. That's in grade 5. And then they list. One school can list up to 100 members, new members. And then natural selections takes place.
Yes.
Yeah, so okay, we are meeting this week, Thursday, 2 o'clock. And then out of 100, maybe 20 comes. 80 comes. Okay, next week we are meeting, things like that. And then through the process of going to learn, and then naturally you find that who are connected are there and who are not there. But we don't throw them away, because we still have programs that they can be interested in. So what we do is continuous project at school, for example, recycling, reforestation, like tree nursery. They are nice and child-friendly projects that the clubs run at the school. Some of them, they register to want to become a member, and then they drop out because nothing is interesting, like sitting down and listening to a teacher, maybe playing football, things like that. And then when they look at other projects, they say, no, I just want to be a member of recycling. And then they come in.
Wonderful.
By the time they finish their primary school, they go to secondary school, and their understanding is opening. You will find them coming back.
Yeah.
So it's a natural process. Those that come and join and remain with this project, it's naturally connected, natural connection.
And it's that commitment. They're showing that leadership, that commitment to nature, feeling that connection in their hearts.
Yes.
That's amazing.
You're right. Yeah.
And I think it's an incredible program, because I think I've never been to Malawi before, and we've traveled kind of quite far between the different, we were in Majeti National Park, and then we drove up here. Before we were in Zambia, and it was quite devastating just seeing how much of the land has been deforested, and the poverty of the people. So in our work, when we find something that's working, we want to help it expand. And so this is working from here. And then if we have a vision of it expanding throughout the country, we can start seeing the people not relying so much on the old forest, cutting down the old forest, but actually planting new trees.
Yeah.
Just living with that connection and that hope. I think that will be important. So thank you for what you're doing. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Yeah, it's important that we also mention that once these children have been inspired and empowered into leadership, like what we tell them, we say, you are the leaders. We have failed. You are not going to fail. So we promise them that their generation is possible to achieve sustainable conservation. We desire to see sustainable conservation, but poverty is also pulling us down. Say, maybe if I go and kill one impala, I'll sustain my life for 2 days. But we tell them, say, your generation is not going to rely on impala, because you are going to be super, and you are going to learn how to live in harmony with wildlife. So it's very promising. One example is a reforestation project that we run as Children in the Wilderness. It was inspired, it came from a mind of a child. In 2012, one child from the project that they do, simple project that they do on the paper, they say, draw your village. How many trees do you have in a village? ... How many trees would you like your village to have? ... How can you achieve that? We need to have a tree nursery. Can you do a tree nursery? We have to learn. And then we invite experts come and teachers orient them to. Since 2012, we have super three tree nurseries that are now able to raise 60,000 seedlings each year.
Wow.
And contribute to their own community.
Beautiful.
Most of the villages and school premises are greener in this area because of this. An idea came from a child, they owned it, they accepted going training, and now every child joining the Children in the Wilderness is automatically connected to reforestation. This time they've started raising trees for which they are going to distribute in December, January for the tree planting season. So that's something. You champion a child, empower them, give them assurance that they can do better. They start developing stories. Look at their stories, support their stories. You find there is a message that can change someone's life. So we believe future belongs to them more than us. We are on the countdown. They are on the count up. They've got more years on this earth than us. So the future belongs to them. Let them take action.
And we can, as adults that do care, we can still assist them you support them as you are doing. So the responsibility isn't only on their shoulders.
Yes.
And I also believe that we've got the support of the wildlife and nature with us. Nature supports us and loves us so much. And I could hear the hippo in the background agreeing, laughing with us.
Yes.
That's wonderful. And if anybody wants to find out more, where do they?
We have a website, www.childreninthewilderness.com, and then because that website covers a number of countries that are affiliated to Children in the Wilderness, and then once you click on www.childreninthewilderness.com, you click for Malawi program. And then you find our program there.
Everything there.
Sure. And my email address is also there on the website, which is citw@cows, which means citw@caws.com. So you are there, but you find me.
We'll write that down as well.
Yes,
so
please.
everyone knows. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Symon.
It was amazing to meet you. Amazing people.
Well, you helped us with the lions, and we shared information about the elephants and the baobab trees. So it's been a really pleasure to meet you.
We would like to stay connected. I feel there's so much that I can learn personally from you. And so much that we as an organization can also benefit in terms of publicizing what we are doing and connecting us to people there and willing to support. The most common challenge that we have is fundraising. As much as I've tried to talk to government officials, inviting them to our events, I don't know where it's a problem. I wish one day I could just wake up and I'm a president of Malawi, and I just make things happen.
I know, but don't we all wish that sometimes? But we just continue doing the work every day. And let's see how we can help this, and hopefully I'll be back here maybe with a group or something. So
let's connect.
Let's see.
Let's connect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Symon. And we've got our lion ancestors sitting with us as well. Thank you.
Imagine. Thank you.